Good morning, I'm Brian, and this is
Tyler.
And welcome you back to Mornings with Brian and Tyler during this second week of Lent. And this week we're going to be in the Gospel of Mark. Now, for those who say, hey, what happened to Matthew? This week we'll be in the Gospel of Mark. And let's pick up, Tyler, at verse 66, chapter 14, verse 66 through 72.
Now as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came, and when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You also were with Jesus of Nazareth." But he denied it, saying, "I neither know nor understand what you are saying." And he went out on the porch, and a rooster crowed. And the servant girl saw him again, and began to say to those who stood by, "This is one of them." But he denied it again. And a little later, those who stood by said to Peter again, "Surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean, and your speech shows it." Then he began to curse and swear, "I do not know this man of whom you speak." A second time the rooster crowed. Then Peter called to mind the word that Jesus had said to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times." And when he thought about it, he wept.
All right. So, and this is one of these where it's always interesting to read the different records, especially of the crucifixion. But 68, he denied, saying, "I do not know, nor do I understand what you're saying." And to me, that's kind of interesting because they'll say to him, "Surely you're a Galilean," because that's what your speech tells us. And, was it that she spoke strict Hebrew? Was she speaking some variation of Greek? Was she speaking, because, okay, and now in fairness, right? If you and I go up to Yankee Land, they can be like, telling us, go get the cow, or, if we had a quarter and stuff like that, right? We might not understand, because no disrespect to all y'all Yankees that might watch us, because I don't know that we really have a huge Yankee watchership.
That's the best of my knowledge.
Okay. But some of you Yankees might go, "Look, y'all understand Texans are hard to understand to us Yankees." Said no Yankee ever, because Yankees can't say y'all. It is phonetically impossible. But we have to wonder if how she said it opened up a dialectical or regional difference there. And so, no, Peter just didn't want to own that he knew Jesus. I get that. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know and I don't understand what you're saying.
And there's also the part of doesn't want to get involved if Jesus is about to, whatever Jesus' punishment is about to be. Mm-hmm. If there's going to be a punishment, which there more than likely is, if we're coming and arresting you in the middle of the night and you're trying to find out what happens, but at the same time, well, if you're with this Jesus guy, don't you need to be getting the same round of punishment that he's about to get?
Okay. And I think that takes us into verse 70, where someone else says, a different maid apparently says, "No, this is one of them." And he's like, "No, I'm not." So, there's no misunderstanding with that one. And then finally, "Surely you are, because you're a Galilean, and your speech agrees thereto." I mean, I know if I spend enough time in Yankee Land, I could be like, "Hey, Tyler, let's, go drive in the car and let's go get a beer and let's go get some quarters and throw them at people and do that kind of stuff, But it would be real hard. It'd be real hard, y'all. Your speech, and I remember one time I did roofing with a guy years ago, and I'm listening to him talk, and finally I said, "I know you're not English, I said, well, are you like some kind of Aussie or New Zealander or something? And he goes, oh, no. He says, my family was wealthy and we were very high Bostonian. He said, and people think that I'm like English or something. And I said, well, I've never heard people from Boston speak like you. He says, well, there's not a lot of people like me from Boston. And that always kind of stuck with me when I think about this, you know, and that is different groups of people have different ways of speaking. But here's the interesting thing. How does he deny knowing Jesus this third time there in 71?
By cursing and swearing.
Okay. The cursing, to curse something literally means to damn it or wish it evil. Okay. So the language coming out of his mouth was using some form of damnatory speech. And then the swearing was at the same time invoking God that he's telling the truth. And this is the point, so that when we get to the last clause of verse 72, read that for us, Tyler.
And when he thought about it, he wept.
Yeah. What's the number one issue that we have with sin? We don't think about it. Someone, no. In the moment, Peter wasn't thinking. I'm not saying he was free of what he did. I'm telling you, he was caught up in his normal way of doing stuff, even after 3.5 years with Jesus. And it's not until he thinks about what Jesus says that then he thinks about how he's behaved. And that brings him to a place of weeping, or the beginning of godly sorrow and repentance. Other thoughts, my brother?
No, sir.
All right, then. With that, he's
Tyler.
and I'm
Brian.
and we're out of here.